Well, we saw history today. Brock Purdy, what are they going to complain about next? 95.2% completion rate at 13.5 yards per attempt. Well, close to NFL history, 49ers history for Brock Purdy today in completion rate. Remember back in 2012 when Alex Smith went 18 and 19 against the Cardinals? The following week, Kaepernick actually took his job. It was close to 95% for Alex Smith, but today Brock Purdy was at 95.2%. There just really isn't any more credible criticism of Brock Purdy. 95% at 13.5 per attempt, and you can't say that he was dinking and dunking during this 35-16 49ers victory over the Cardinals, because he was throwing downfield, several downfield shots to Brandon Ayuk in this game, who, oh my God, that first one, did you see the route? That was Jerry Rice-like stuff from Brandon Ayuk. Came back for the football in double coverage to snag it. Do you know how hard that adjustment is to make while the ball's in midair? The other throws from Purdy were perfect. And, I would even venture to say that first 42-yarder to Brandon Ayuk was really damn good because he was in double coverage. Maybe one that hits him in stride over the top isn't complete because that's where the coverage was. You let your receiver run under the ball, make the play. So Purdy, unbelievably precise today. Ayuk, really good. That was, 6 catches for, I think, over 150 yards for him. And then Christian McCaffrey. He has now scored a touchdown in 13 straight games. That has broken the 49ers franchise record, including the playoffs, of Jerry Rice. And 4 touchdowns today for McCaffrey. Didn't get the 49ers record. 5 touchdowns in a game is the 49ers record. Ricky Waters in the 1993 playoffs and the 44-3 win over the New York Giants. And in 1990 against Atlanta, Jerry Rice scored 5 in the game. I thought Christian was going to have a chance to score his 5th touchdown in the game today there at the end. But Kyle Shanahan let Brock Purdy be the vulture, the touchdown vulture. Quarterback sneak for Brock Purdy there, scores the 49ers' final touchdown. So it doesn't work out for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey to get the 5th touchdown, but they do get Brock Purdy a score at the end of the football game. Impressive stuff from the 49ers offense. The 30-point streak is over. 30 points in week 1, week 2, and week 3. They had to settle for 35 points today instead. Defensively, it was an interesting game. The 49ers defense started the game by completely shutting out the Cardinals over the first few drives. And then the Cardinals ran a fake punt, right, on the 4th and 2 deep in their own territory late in the first half. After that fake punt, over the next 2 possessions, the Cardinals were at 8.2 yards per play. They just moved the ball up and down the field. It looked like the 49ers defense was just extremely frustrated that they had to go back out onto the field. And it took a while. I mean, you want to play defense downhill, especially if you're a pass rush-oriented team like the 49ers. And they really had to start playing defense uphill. I mean, the Cardinals were able to run the ball. We talked about the fact that the Cardinals were a run-based team. If Joshua Dobbs could run, if James Conner could run, which he did at over 4 yards per carry, then they'd be able to pass as well. And I was really impressed with Josh Dobbs. Yet he had the 49ers pass rush diffused, especially in that middle part of the game, with the run game. And when we saw Dobbs himself running, that was what we saw on tape. He was able to do it much more effectively than Daniel Jones, who didn't even try for the New York Giants a couple weeks ago against the 49ers. So Dobbs, he hung in there. There was Hollywood Brown was making some plays, forced the 49ers to change strategy a bit at nickelback after an early 3rd down conversion. We saw Isaiah Oliver leave the game, and we saw Deommodore Lenoir slide inside. When Lenoir slid inside to combat the extra quickness that Arizona was bringing to the slot position, that Ambry Thomas went into outside cornerback, and he got beat by Michael Wilson, the Stanford product, the rookie, on the deep pass. Wilson had a nice kind of homecoming game for the Cardinals, and they brought this from 21-3 to 21-16 very, very quickly. But ultimately, the 49ers offense, because this is a team sport, the 49ers offense delivered in complementary fashion. They scored another touchdown to make it 28-16. That allowed the defense to dig in and restabilize, right? And then we finally saw the first sack of the game for Javon Hargrave. It's hard to notch sacks when the other team is diffusing your pass rush with the run game. You have to stop the run to have some fun. And the 49ers weren't quite doing that on the two really tough drives in the middle of the game. But then finally, with the offense giving them some breathing room, some cushion, the 49ers defense restabilized, and Javon Hargrave beat Elijah Wilkinson, the left guard, on that sack in the third quarter to put the 49ers back in firm control against the Arizona Cardinals. The rest was really elementary. The 49ers faced only 5 third downs as an offense and scoring 35 points today. That's certifiably insane. And I'll say this 49ers offense I don't think is really guardable by any defense in the NFL under 2 conditions. A, if they're healthy, the geometry just doesn't work. Like, other teams can't geometrically cover everybody on the 49ers because you have so many eligibles that are capable of winning one-on-one matchups, right? Kyle Juszczyk early in the game, he beat Kaiser White, who's the best linebacker for this Arizona team. If even Juszczyk, who's like your 6th or 7th eligible, right, is beating the best linebacker of the other team. I mean, we haven't even gotten to guys like Deebo Samuel, who was used in limited fashion today, but had a big gain at the end. We haven't even gotten to Brandon Ayuk. We haven't gotten to George Kittle. We haven't gotten to Christian McCaffrey. So the 49ers are beating the best linebacker on the other side with a truly supplementary weapon in Kyle Juszczyk. So the geometry just isn't there to be able to defend the 49ers. If they stay healthy, I think they're unguardable. And then B, condition B, is if Brock Purdy distributes the ball appropriately to receivers who are going to be inevitably open, they are unguardable. So they met both of those conditions today. The only time when they didn't meet that condition was on a drive in the third quarter where they ended up having to punt because Dennis Gardeck, I told you about him in the lead up to this game, the outside linebacker for Arizona, beat Colton McKivitz on a spin move, and that pass rush forced the 49ers into a 3rd and 24. In fact, Brock Purdy's only incompletion of this game came on 3rd down and 24. Otherwise, he went 21 to 22, 95.2% completion rate. That is a 49ers record, beats Alex Smith from that 2012 season, also against the Cardinals at about 95%. Awesome stuff. What are the complaints about Brock Purdy going to be now? It's a complete joke at this point, right? The guy goes 95.2% and is at 13.5 yards per attempt, is precise all over the field. I mean, some of the stuff to McCaffrey underneath was elite. The way that he's threading the needle, and then he's going over the top to Brandon Ayuk. I mean, it was close to a perfect performance. It really was from Brock Purdy in this football game. And then you have Christian McCaffrey making history, 13th straight game with a touchdown. That breaks Jerry Rice's 49ers record. You have to go all the way back to the Dolphins game last year where Brock Purdy took over for the injured Jimmy Garoppolo for the start of that streak. So no coincidence that Brock Purdy and that Christian McCaffrey streak started with Brock Purdy taking over as the 49ers quarterback. Those two have been great together. I mean, if you had to summarize it in one way, the 49ers have the tremendous advantage of having a safety valve in Christian McCaffrey, who's one of the most explosive players in the league. And perhaps we should start talking about Christian McCaffrey for MVP. I'm not saying he is the MVP, I'm saying we need to start talking about it because he's that damn good. Leads the league in rushing, 4 touchdowns today, has completely transformed the 49ers offense. Brock Purdy should get a lot of credit for the 21 out of 22, but you know what? It's a team sport, and Christian McCaffrey should as well. So in the big picture, the 49ers look dominant again. I predicted a 17-point win, and they won by 19 points today. That's dominant any way that you look at it in the NFL. Only the 49ers and the Eagles remain as unbeatens in the NFL, and the 49ers host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football next week. So it's just now starting to cook for the 49ers. They're at 4-0. Beating Dallas next week would make it 5-0 for the 49ers. Cleveland looms after that. It's just now getting fun, so buckle up because the 49ers are looking good in all phases of the game. All right, I'm off to the locker room. We will talk to everybody very soon. Bye now.